Hello and welcome. My name is Xander. I will be your instructor through this tutorial. Now, this tutorial is actually part of a whole course which you can access the first stages for free here on YouTube. Now, in this tutorial, I might mention resources and other tutorials. Do check out the link in the video description, which will take you to the playlist, and also there will be a link to the resources so that you can access and follow along here on YouTube. Now, if you like this course, you found it useful, and you want to take that next step, you can find this course over at Udemy. All the links to the resources can be found in the video description. Now, don't forget, also subscribe to the channel for weekly promotions, discounts, and free course giveaways. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to install and run a PostgreSQL database within a Docker container. I'll take you through the basics of Docker. If you're not familiar with Docker, we'll go ahead and install Docker Desktop for both Mac and Windows, discuss a little bit about Docker Hub, images and containers to give you some context, and then we'll go ahead and create a PostgreSQL container where our PostgreSQL service will run throughout the entirety of this course. If you haven't used Docker before, it can feel a little bit daunting to start off with, but hopefully by the end of this course, you'll have the basic skills and feel comfortable working with Docker when maybe developing applications or developing databases. For this course, there is no need for us to go into any great detail regarding Docker, but I just wanted to give you some context and make you aware of why we are using Docker. And hopefully by using it, you will see yourself how it makes it a lot easier for us to work with a Postgres database. Docker is a popular open source platform designed for developing, shipping, and running applications inside of containers. There are three main components to Docker: images, containers, and volumes. A Docker image, that is a lightweight, standalone, and executable package that contains everything that we need to run an application inside of a container. So this image would include the code, the libraries, the dependencies, the environment configurations, and operating system dependencies in order to create a container to run our application. We typically download images, official images for software from the Docker Hub. So from here, for example, we can search for different types of images. Let me just search for, let's go for Postgres. And you can see here, this is the Postgres image. It's been downloaded more than 1 billion times. It's fairly popular. And from here, we can utilize this image to then build a container so that we can start to work with the Postgres software. In this course, we're going to download images from Docker Hub, in this case, the Postgres image, and we're going to use that image to create a Docker container. Now remember, a Docker container is a running instance of a Docker image. Like I said, it includes the application and all of its dependencies, but runs in an isolated environment on our computer. So the benefit of that is that we can install Postgres within these isolated environments without having to install it on our main computer. The benefit of that is that we don't have to go through that installation process. When we want to restart Postgres, we can easily do that by just restarting a container. It just makes the whole process of developing and working with a database a whole lot easier. Because of that, and the fact that it is a very popular tool to use, so it's probably useful to know a little bit about containers. We are going to be using Docker containers here to run our Postgres database. We will also use volumes in this course, and we use a volume to persist data so that when we remove or delete a container, we still retain the data. Because one thing about containers is that when we stop them, all the data in that container will be lost. So we're going to use a volume to persist storage so that we can save, for example, our database information and then use that again to restart the database and continue working. Continue working where we left off with the same data before we deleted or stopped the container. A little bit out of sync, but that's the basics of Docker Hub, images, and containers. You don't need to make notes here or try and necessarily remember this information. I will take you through step by step as we work through using Docker. I would like to say it's a very simple process, and hopefully by the end of this course, you will see the benefit of using it. So let's first of all install Docker Desktop. Docker Desktop is going to allow us to interact with our images and containers, start and stop our containers, and it just makes it nice and easy for us to work with Docker and containers. I think I said that a few times there. So first of all, head over to your browser. In your search engine, let's just type in Docker Desktop. From here, find the Docker Desktop download. Actually, that didn't work out well. So I've gone to docker.com in actual fact. It's just one way of getting to the same place. I've selected Docker Desktop, and then from here, we should be able to download Docker Desktop. And you can see we've got a few options here. I am working on the Mac. The process is going to be exactly the same on Windows. My list here is showing Mac downloads because I'm using Mac. On yours, if you're using Windows or Linux, of course, you can just simply go ahead and select the appropriate download. Right, so in actual fact, I would choose Apple Silicon. That would download, and we can then work through the installation process. So once you've downloaded, simply just click on the download and just go through the installation process. Whether you're on Windows or Mac, it's just a simple case, I believe, of just pressing next, 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 and next. There aren't any special settings that you need to define. Get it installed and then open up Docker Desktop. Right, so once you've opened up Docker Desktop, you will be presented with a screen that looks a little bit like this. Now, I do already have images and containers just to show you where we're leading towards. So on the left-hand side at the top here, you can see we have two sections. These are the only two sections that we're going to need for this course: images and containers. In actual fact, you never need to look at the image area, just containers. So what we're going to do eventually is to create a script to download the PostgreSQL image from Docker Hub, and then we're going to use that image to create a container. So it will end up looking a little bit like this. Now, we are going to have multiple services here. One of them will be our Postgres container. So this is our Postgres container, and this is just going to run in the background. And then we're going to use Visual Studio Code to connect to our container and run our SQL commands to interact with our database, create our database, and then query our database. Eventually, we will need to stop or delete containers. So in the container section, I simply just select all the containers. I don't need to select individual containers ever, and then just press delete. That's going to remove the containers. So whenever you need to restart, or whenever you need to start a new module, and I've provided a new instruction, simply just delete the containers and then just follow the instructions that I provide, and you'll be able to restart the container and then continue working in the modules. As and when you finish with the course, you can go over to the images and then just go ahead and delete all the images, because they can be quite large, some of them 700, 300 meg, if you want to get rid of those. Okay, so don't forget, you will need Docker Desktop running to start Docker in each of the modules before then going ahead and creating our database or interacting with the database. Right, so let me take you through the process now of actually creating a Postgres SQL container, which includes the Postgres software so that we can actually run Postgres inside of a container. Now, you will find connected to this tutorial the source code, the code that we actually create, but you can follow along and type the code yourself. So what you need to do at this point is create some sort of folder on your desktop and make that your project folder for the first, maybe the first module of this course, and then open that folder up. So remember, you need to go to File, Open Folder, open that folder up, and on the left-hand side, you should have an empty folder. You can see that I have a file called Docker Compose in mine, but yours should be empty. So that should then take you to a page or to a screen that looks a little bit like this. On the left-hand side, you have your folder open. So the first thing you need to do is create a new file. So right-click, New File, and then save the file as docker-compose.yaml, YML. So that's the first task. Right, so once you have that done, select the file, and then I'll zoom in a little bit, drop that down, and then we can now start defining our SQL service. So I'm going to give this a name. This is the project name. I'm going to call this SQL Postgres, and we'll see that in action when we start the container. I'll point that out. So that's the name of the project, and then we can start building our services. So we're going to build a Postgres service, and that's going to be our first service that we define. So another indentation, and I'm going to define an image. So this is the image, the Postgres image that we're going to use and download from Docker Hub. So the latest one as of recording, and you can go and check out different versions. I'm going to use 17.4 Alpine 3.21. Okay, so that's the image that we're going to use. You don't have to match it exactly. You will find that earlier or later versions will still work in this course. If you head over to the Postgres official image, you can see we're just simply matching one of these images that exist, and we've selected the latest version of Alpine as of recording this tutorial. Right, so then we need a container name so that we can easily identify our container. So let's give it a container name. So I'm going to call this inventory_db. So that's going to be the name of my container so I can easily recognize it. And then I'm going to set the restart option to always, in case there's an issue. Maybe the service fails, it's going to try and restart. So I don't have to go into Docker and restart it manually. And then I need to set some environment variables. So if you read through the documentation for this image on Docker Hub, it will tell you that you need to define a Postgres user, which we would do here. And I realize for security reasons, this isn't normally the best scenario, but for this course, we aren't going to make this live at all. So we just set the Postgres user to Postgres, and then the Postgres password, we'll just set that to Postgres 2, something easy to remember. Okay, so then let's create a database. So this variable automatically tells Postgres when it starts in the container to create a new database with this name. And that's the database that we're going to use throughout this course. So that just saves us a task of actually having to build that. It will just get built automatically. And then I'm going to move back slightly. Okay, and then back to the previous indentation and then define ports. So what I need to do is I will need access to this service. Now, by default, a container is not open, it's closed. So we need to open up a door or a port so that we can actually access the service from our local machine. So PostgreSQL, the default port that it listens to in order to capture or accepts connections and data from is port 5432. So what we need to do is we need to map this port to 5432 on our local machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to send data to this port, and it's just going to magically be ported over to this service in the Docker container. And that way we can then communicate with this container through this port number. And that's all that we need to do at this point. So we now have defined the first service, our Postgres service. So we simply now need to run this. So to start our Postgres container. If you take a look at my Docker Hub, I already have images downloaded. So I'm not going to delete them, but what will happen with yours is that you would download these images, and they can be fairly large. So you may have to wait a few seconds for it to download. But I won't need to do that. But you can see I don't have any containers just yet. So let's go ahead and see if we can start this container. So you would need to open up your terminal, drag from the bottom, or use the shortcut, or go to View and Terminal. And then we need to type docker space compose. And then we're going to use the up command, which is going to tell Docker to bring up this container based upon these instructions. And then we're going to use the D flag. That essentially tells Docker that we want to return back to our terminal, and we don't want to output from our container in our terminal here. So it's just going to work in the background. Okay, so it looks like we've made a mistake. So there's a few different errors that might occur at this point. One of them is simply you haven't indented correctly. So do make sure that you follow the exact indentation that I'm using. Number two, maybe somewhere you have incorrectly spelt one of these points. And it looks like in this case, that is the case. So environment. So we simply made a spelling error there. You may have already seen that and changed yours. And other than that, there isn't too much else that can go wrong. Just make sure the indentation is correct. You've got a nice space between name and services, although that isn't necessarily required. And you've named everything correctly. Right, so let's try that once again. This time it's successful. So it's looking to pull down the image, which already exists on my system. So it would take a few more seconds on yours. And then I'm then told that the container has started. So I can now go back to my containers in Docker Desktop, and I can see SQL, PostgreSQL. That's the name of my stack that we defined at the top of the Docker Compose file. And then we have inventory DB, that's the name of my container, and that's Postgres running. So I can go into the terminal of this container. It's like just like any Linux system almost. And I can say, who am I? I'm root. And then from here, I can type PSQL. I can use the -big U, capital U, and then my user, Postgres. And then that allows me to actually log in to my Postgres service, to the software we have installed in this container. So remember, if you want to remove the service, just select everything from this list here, press delete, and that will then remove the container. So that's how easy it's going to now be to actually install and start our Postgres service in our Docker container. Just one simple line of code, a couple of seconds, our Postgres service is up and running. So that literally is everything we need to know, apart from a little bit about volumes, which I will discuss later on in this course. Hopefully you managed to get Docker started. We're ready now to move on to the content in this course.